Hey everyone, I'm Coral, and this is White Fang. This is where we talk about why we think chimps are creepy. Just kidding. This is where we talk about books and what we're gonna read this month. Well, I can't speak for White Fang because she's a cat and I don't know if she reads. She might do that all day while I'm gone. I don't know. But I've got a few books picked out here that I'd like to get to this month. So, the first two are both Stephen King books. I'm going to try to read The Talisman this month. Don't know a whole lot about this. Oh my god, surprise, right? Oh my god, who would have thought that I don't know anything about a book that I'm about to read? Kind of from what I've gathered in my years on this earth, absorbing all this weird Stephen King knowledge that I don't need, I think that this is about a guy whose mother is sick and he has to get this thing to save her life. And I think that's what The Talisman is. So, never read it. This is the first time for me. And I'm excited about this one. I have a good feeling about this one. Okay, the next Stephen King I'd like to get to this month is The Gunslinger. I have read The Gunslinger before. I've read it at least twice. And I feel like I've picked it up a third time too, but I don't know for sure. Both times I did not like this, or maybe all three times. All I know is that I haven't really liked it when I've read it. It's confusing, and I read it once when I was maybe like 13 or 12, and I didn't understand it, so I picked it up again. I know for sure I picked this one up again when I was 20 or so, and I was like, you know what, I didn't understand this because I was just a kid when I tried it, and I tried to read it again and I still didn't understand. So I want to read this again. It's the next thing on my Dark Tower list. I will put a link to the video where I explain why I'm doing this up above. Next, I have a sequel to a book I read last month. If you watched my video about my reading goals for 2019, one of my goals was to read sequels for any series that I start in 2019 because I am the worst series reader possibly on earth. I'm so bad about it. I don't even have an explanation. I don't know. I do this with TV series sometimes too, where I'll watch like the first 2 episodes and be like, I like this, and then I never watch the rest for some reason. I don't know. Maybe I have commitment issues with books and television. But the next one I'd like to read is Golden Sun by Pierce Brown. I read Red Rising last month and I thought it was. So I really want to get to this one as soon as possible, probably after the book that I'm reading right now. Golden Sun obviously picks up where Red Rising left off, maybe? I don't know. It's a sequel, so I don't want to read the synopsis because I'm worried about what it might say and what it might give away. But I really liked Red Rising. Next is a book that I do know a little bit about. That is Kin by Keelan Patrick Burke. This was part of another goal that I had for this year. I picked 10 books off my shelf that I thought are going to end up being 5-star reads for me, and this was one of them. So I'm going to read it this month. I'm very excited about it because I really like Keelan Patrick Burke's other stuff that I've read so far. I've read some of his novellas, so this is like the first full-length thing I'm reading of his, and it's about a girl, a woman who survives some sort of like massacre, and I think it's just kind of the aftermath of what would hypothetically happen after something like that. So like the final girl survives, and what happens to the final girl? What happens to her? What happens to the families of the other people who were hurt during this event? I think, okay, here's the thing about my videos is I don't oh my god, I don't really like to know what's going on in these books that I read ahead of time. Because, oh man, I just want everything to be a surprise. So I don't like to read synopsises. And that is sometimes a problem when I'm making booktube videos explaining why I want to read something. Because I just want to read it because I think I'm gonna like it. Really. So I think I'm gonna like this. The next book I have here is A Feast for Crows by George R.R. Martin. Another series that I've started and not finished yet. I have this book. I have the 5th book. I just haven't read them for some reason. So I've started this. I am 68 pages in so far. Not very far. I just started. I was reading it while I was finishing up Swamplandia last month. And yeah, it's part of the A Song of Ice and Fire series. There's not much to tell you about it that you probably don't already know. And also, I don't really know what's gonna happen in here because it's a sequel and some crazy shit happened in the last book. So I'm kicking myself for taking so long in between these because it's been a full year about since I read Storm of Swords. And so there are some fine details that I know I haven't remembered. So I'm the worst, but I'm very excited about this. So the next one I'm planning on reading this month is an e-arc called Will Haunt You by Brian Kirk. This is a NetGalley book that I was able to get a copy of. So thank you so much to NetGalley and the publisher for letting me read it. I don't know what it's about. I know that it's a horror novel and I really liked the way the cover looked, so that's just how I frickin' roll. I don't read arcs all that often because I have this guilt about the 400 something books on my shelf that I haven't read, but I saw this one and I thought I would try for it and my request was accepted, so I'm gonna read it this month. I think that comes out March 2019. After I read it, obviously, in my wrap-up video, I will tell you more about that. My last book, I'm gonna pull from my TBR jar. If you watched my last month's TBR, you will notice that I had a different jar and I dropped it on the tile in this stupid tiled room, and it was literally like 3 inches from the ground. It just slipped out of my hand and it shattered everywhere. And so did my heart because I really liked the way that that vase looked and you could see all my stars in it. It was so cute. So this is the only other vase I have in my house. You can't really see it that well, but anyways, that's the end of my life story. And I'm gonna pick a book right here. Okay, this is Red, which is science fiction. Pretty sure that that's the first thing that I picked last month too, maybe. And I couldn't read it because it was part of a series. So, wait. Gotta move this somewhere. To move my TBR jar because White Fang likes to fish. She likes to fish for TBR jar stars. She's bad. Anyways, back to our regularly scheduled program. Oh, this is crazy. My TBR jar, star jar, I don't know if my camera's picking this up because I'm freaking blind, but that is Vermilion by Molly Tanzer, which is another of my anticipated 5-star reads for this year. It's like a freebie, huh? Because I already really wanted to read it. So, where is Vermilion? I moved it on my shelf. Here it is. Vermilion. Vermilion. What is that green? Is that a green color? Is that a name for a green color, Vermilion? I don't think it is. Oh my god, my cats are fighting. Listen, there is a kitty massacre going on in my house. It is kitty civil war. It's been going on all day for some reason. My cats have been nuts and they're trying to kill each other as we speak. It's really an unfair fight because my big old cat Salem is big and old and he is beating the shit out of White Fang, who is feisty but small. Maybe she's letting him win. I don't know. She was doing martial arts moves. Anyways, Vermilion by Molly Tanzer. It's my number 7. That's all I'm going to put myself down on paper for. I usually read. Sometimes these get swapped out. Sometimes I pick up. Sometimes I'm able to read more than that. But 7 is usually about where my good spot is. So those are my 7 books for this month. This is my TBR for February. Thank you so much for watching. You're a peach. Leave me a comment if you've read any of these, if you loved these, or if you hated these, or I don't know, whatever you want to say. Tell me why you think chimps are creepy, because I think they're very creepy. I don't really like apes. I'm sorry. I know they're related to us and like they feel things and they're great creatures, but I think they're creepy. That's all I have for you today. Until my next video, see you later, alligators.